All right.
All right, all right. Family, shout out to everybody in the chat. I'm going to tell y'all, in ancient times when they heard them horns, they knew some major shit was about to go down. People got scared. People literally started shivering when they heard them horns. Family, them horns, I had to play them horns to start this show. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. It's going to be the theme of this year. The theme of this year and the theme of tonight and this year, my brother Blue Pill actually coined it. I want to give a shout out to Blue Pill, and I'm calling it Fast and Sirius. Sirius with a Sirius, as in the star system, Sirius. And we're moving at quantum speed right now, family. So I want y'all to keep up, but I want y'all to keep up with the right things and the things that resonate with you. I might even put a disclaimer before every show and say, if this doesn't resonate with you, leave it alone. But take what resonates with you and move forward with it. If it don't resonate with you, leave it alone, family. There's no need to argue, bicker, waste precious energy. And we're going to talk about precious energy or currency or our real bank account during tonight's show. Unity feels so good, y'all. I'm going to tell y'all, if y'all see the lineup, Unity feels so good. And actually, family, there used to be laws against us uniting. You could call it gathering, you could call us hanging on the corner, but it's really unity. They had to make laws just so we wouldn't show unity. And another thing before we get started, I want you to research something called horizontal gene transfer.
Right.
And that's something big that happens when we unite. And shout out to Inky. You know, Inky goes around, he talks shit about everybody, but shout out to Inky. That was the first brother that I heard use that phrase. So shout out to Inky for that. He called me about early this year, but shout out to him for introducing the community and a lot of people to that phrase. Brother Panic talked about it in the book also. But look up horizontal gene transfer. And with that being said, I want to take this time to welcome to the historic show tonight. In 2 minutes, we got almost 2,000 people in 2 minutes. Wow. Let me give you the lineup. Blue Pillar 44, the 44 God. Sharif Bey. Sistar Myrah Morse, the Oracle. Bdell1014.
Yes.
Cambada. Dr. Phil Valentine, the godfather of the conscious community. Billy Carson, a.k.a. Forbidden Knowledge. And Doctah. Be Sirius. All of y'all, welcome to the platform. Welcome.
Honor.
Y'all been some of the most consistent people on my platform. I want to thank y'all for coming on tonight. We're gonna have a great show. There's actually something that I want to introduce to the audience that we have coming up, and everybody on this panel is going to be a part of. It's something different. I feel as though because there's a paradigm shift, there has to be a shift in our approach with information, so that the information I want to, this is what I want to do, y'all. When sometime, and I said this years ago on my show. Sometime I could go to sleep at night, right? I ain't do this lately since me and my lady had kids. You know, it shit get crazy with you guys. But me and my lady, we used to go to sleep holding each other. You ever seen them skeletons of the people holding each other, and they died holding each other, and the skeletons were still there. I want to feel like that with my information. I want my book, because you know what we do. You know how we feel like that? We go to sleep with our phone in our hand like this. Our phone be in all types of directions because we have an intimate relationship with this device. Very intimate, very visceral, very emotional. I want us to have that with these books. I want us to have that. Shout out to Greg Braden. This is his book. I want us to have that relationship with these books. So we're we're reintroducing something that has not been done for a long time in our community.
Yes.
And we're doing that at the Non-Eat the God Fest. This is a non-eat the year. This is a number 9 year. Me and Billy just did a show on Mars and the number 9, and you can talk to King Simon about the number 9 and what it represents and completion and all that. It's a lot of good things with the number 9. A lot of good things happening. That's why a lot of bad things are happening. Let me say that again. A lot of good things are happening, so that's why a lot of bad things are happening. But don't get it twisted. Don't get confused, family. I'm gonna talk about the event in a little while, but just to start out with y'all, I got such an amazing cast. How y'all doing energetically? I want to ask y'all before we start. Energetically, we are all different angles of lights. Energetically, what I'm talking about, to have a more personal. I talked about going to sleep with my lady holding us, hugging her. And I talked about how we hug this phone, sleep like some niggas don't want their girl to have the password, so they be clutching it with 2 hands. So I want to know, how can we clutch these books, this information, this knowledge? I want us to clutch it in our heart the same way we clutch this phone, and just give a brief summary of what y'all think we could do something small moving forward. And I'm gonna end it with this. Family, because I say all of that to say this. Our emotions have a direct influence on our DNA. It has been done in experiments. Our DNA has a direct influence on photons. Photons is the small particles that make up the world, meaning our emotions have an impact on a thing that has an impact that changes the world. This is why they want control of our emotions so bad. Loosh, all that other fancy things you want to call it. With that said, I'm excited as you. Come on, who wouldn't be excited? Look what's going on. Who wouldn't be excited? I can jump up and down. Let's get this thing started. Listen to what I said.
Deep breath, Rich. Deep breath, Rich. Deep breath.
Who's side? All right, talk to me, y'all. Something small we could do moving forward energetically, to have a more personal, energetic, emotional relationship with the information that's being shared to us, because that's how we ultimately.
I'm Kiana, and I leveled up my business with Shopify. I have 3 businesses that are selling on Shopify. Once I figured out that Shopify was a thing, I never turned back.
Ultimately communicate with that radio station called Divine Source, or whatever you want to call it. Talk to me, family, real quick.
The active principle of actually taking the information and embodying it, finding out if it's really what you're teaching, so you could teach it from a place of authenticity, to say, I actually did that, and I'm the living, breathing example of it. It's not something that I just read. We have to get past the point of, regurgitation to a place of demonstration. And once you activate these principles that you study for so long, then with the authority, you could tell a person that it works, because, we're self-healers and we're helpers outwardly. You know what I'm saying? I cannot go inside of a person's body and do the work for them. I can direct you to it, show you what needs to be done, reinforce what needs to be done, cast a new spell and broke an old one, but you got to do the work. You feel me? If I can embody the work and show you that I've done it myself, I went to the mountaintop, you know what I'm saying, got the bucket and came back down and said, you can go up there and do it yourself as well. You feel me? Rather than just being at the base of the mountain and being mesmerized by my story, I'm storytelling to compel you to feel it enough to say, I want that feeling for myself, not to just feel good that I did it.
D, thank you, my brother.
And
who want to go next?
I'll go next. I mean, first of all, I give honor to what Brother Blue Pill just said. And I would say something very similar. In the book of Revelations, there's an analogy given saying,
yes,
eat the book, right? The Revelator, John the Revelator, was given a book.
He eats it.
By an angel, was told to eat it. Said,
wow.
It would taste sweet as honey, but in his stomach, it'll be bitter. So in other words, it's going to sound good to you, but when it's time to live it, you're going to feel the responsibility of it. You see what I'm saying?
So powerful.
eating the book, for me personally, I love what Brother Blue Pill just said. For me, it's like we have a practice in our community where we read the principles, we read the info, and then we start the process by making the information or the principles that we read part of our everyday language with each other.
Right.
We practice it this way. And when the principles become part of your everyday language, it then downloads into how you're thinking and then what you do. So then it becomes you're actually living the principles, and then you see the product. So we don't call the literature the lessons. We call the literature the instructions. But when you live it out, the result you get is the lesson.
Excellent.
Like that.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I guess I'll go next.
Okay.
And it's interesting that you're talking about our emotions and what we're feeling. Excuse me, because we're in the energy of Capricorn. You know me, I'm going to come from.
Oh yeah. Love it. Come on, Myra.
And we're in the energy of Capricorn, which the opposite sign, and I call myself a holistic. I don't talk about one sign without its opposite, because balance is the key to everything.
Yes.
So if we're in Capricorn, the opposite sign of Capricorn is Cancer. Cancer is walking emotions. Their emotions personified. They get their feelings hurt if the mailman don't leave them mail. Nobody loves me, so they personify emotions. So what you're doing when you're in one sign, you're actually fulfilling the energy of the opposite sign. So that's why we're so deeply getting into the emotions and the feelings, you see, because it's opposite the Capricorn, which is, more about practicability, being more stable, and, being more down to earth. So the emotions is what's going to be highlighted now, because it's the opposite sign of Capricorn. And that is why this inspiration is coming at this time, to get into our feelings, you see. And then the number 9, of course, like you said, the 9-year, even the Super Bowl is going to be on the 9th. And, I always tell you guys, this is a Super Bowl where Asar puts on his resurrection. He puts his 14th piece, his penis, where we're going to see a collective resurrection of power. You see that it's now time to fulfill that. You see. I'm looking for big things, and definitely going straight to the heart, going straight to our feelings, and that's the internal. So that's what we're looking at here, as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to energy.
Excellent.
Both sides.
Excellent. Bdell, you next, my brother?
Yes. Within the factions of Western civilizations, when you're talking about emotions, everything that they perpetuate, it basically dematerializes our emotions, because they supplicate it and turn it into a weakness. So that basically destabilizes your authenticity, because you're operating from a place of fear, which basically puts an encryption over your anatomy and your thinking process to where you cannot think outside the box. Now, they just came out with many different publications and documentations talking about the CIA, how they study the holonomic brain theory to where you don't think outside that encryption. It's an energetic grid over the brain that also works in tandem with, the space-time continuum within the factions of the firmament. That coincides with, the super chiasmatic nucleus that connects to the cosmic clock. So like I said, it's all about the reset. So you got to use your emotions as a navigation system to get through this time period and this timeline. So that's, the apex on how you connect with your higher self. It's all about authenticity, just like Blue said.
Indeed. Hey, before Cambada go, don't Bdell sound like a young Phil Valentine with the words he used? You hear his verbiage?
I was sitting there like, Phil got to be.
That's a young Phil Valentine right there.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you something. I watched a lot of Dr. Phil's lectures. I remember he said that I'm a Libra, so I'm a wordologist. So I'm a Libra as well, so I resonate with that same energy.
Okay. Excellent. Yeah, that's what's up. Cambada, go ahead, my brother.
Yo, you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this question was actually a little difficult for me to wrap my head around. I guess because I don't think lately I haven't been doing much thinking. I've just been kind of sticking to the ritual, the routine, and kind of getting through the reps without thinking.
Right.
But I would say since 2020, since, you know, I turned 33, I've just been in a state of, I guess, confusion amongst light, you know, having kids. But I guess me as a man going from being, you know, just me to being a father. And then when I was just me, I kind of, I guess I capstoned it when I was 33 and I dropped LSD, my album. And since then I felt lost. I felt detached, especially from music and art in the world. I felt that moment. I guess I had that moment where I remember when I was a kid, and I always would feel like my parents or my elders were kind of detached from the hip hop, you know, or the music or the movies or the style. And I would always wonder, when would that happen to me? And it's not a phenomenon. It's actually something that happens, a maturation. And I guess through our 20s and our childhood, we're kind of experiencing and taking notes. So that way, when we become that man, we know what we like, we need, we want. And I guess I just realized that certain things weren't for me, and it was hard to come to grips with. And I'm just getting to the point where I feel good, because I guess the advice I would say is, don't be afraid to start from scratch. It's kind of
You see this house in Florida? Well, let me show you how I invested into it with just a few $100s. Plus, my investment was completely backed by the government. I did it using something called tax lien investing. So basically, what happened with this home is the owner failed to pay their property taxes. When that happens, the government actually creates certificates for that debt. I actually bought that debt, which basically means I paid the tax.
cheat code. Like when one of the things is, when you're lost and confused, you just start from square one again.
Mm-hmm.
And I always said this in my mind. I was like, you know, as an artist, there's always going to be some 18-year-old that just started today that has all the energy in the world, and he really wants it. The same day that I'm here right now, there's a kid who just started doing what I'm doing, and he's excited about it. And all the shit that even me being right here, there's people that would die for this moment, you know, where this might just be casual for me. So I guess right now I'm in the mindset of saying, hold on, if I just started doing music today, I mean, now I have the knowledge of knowing how to play the game. It's a cheat code. Imagine if when you started producing, you were as good as you are right now. But it's only a mindset. It's only a mindset. Like, so for me, like, the mindset is, oh my God, I just started. And I guess that right there kind of really like helps me, like, oh shit, I got you.
Yo, I love the honesty of Trey. He talks like a baby almost. I love the honesty, not in a bad way, but the honesty and the transparency in which you talk is not like you're trying to impress somebody. You're talking from your soul. And that's what we're gonna do at the God Fest, the God. You can't, and that's what makes your music so good. You're talking from your soul, no matter how ratchet or bad or whatever it seems. You just talk from your soul, bro. We love that shit, brother. Keep doing what you do.
Yo, that was dope. That's great. To be that purposefully innocent. That's straight. I love it.
Purposefully innocent. I like that one. Dr. Valentine, go ahead, my brother. We gonna keep it moving. Go ahead, Doc.
Wow, I feel very privileged to be amongst such an august body.
Yeah.
Thank you for your invitation. That horn that you began the show with, Rich,
yes, sir.
I don't know if you understand, but it's been playing around the planet for the last 5 years.
No, I swear, I did not know that. I swear I did not know that.
Yeah, over in Russia, you start hearing this. People are wondering where that sound is coming from.
I did not know that.
Yeah, there was a change in resonance in the planetary atmosphere, and that was what the horn that the Hebrews and the so-called Eudos used to blow that horn in order to get attention, because that was the horn that allegedly the Most High blew as new dispensation of consciousness would be coming in. So we were being warned already for the last 5 years with all this sound of a horn that was driving people crazy. Not only that, you're in the 9th year, which essentially is in the year of what we call the cosmic fetus. Everything begins with a 9 that looks like a fetus. That is essentially the beginnings and the end, essentially, because the end result of the sperm meeting the egg is an ending, which is a new beginning. That I'd like to say also is that everybody is questioning religion today, and they're using it for a more practical purpose, because now the decoding that we began back 40 years ago, code breaking was the thing at the time, and that was preparing the mind for our young people to start looking at things differently. And that's what metaphysics is. Metaphysics is looking beyond the veneer of what we look at as results, as effects, and studying the language of cause. And that's the thing today. Young people, I'm so proud of you all, the ones who are actually looking at the world and not looking at the veneer, at the illusion, and you're looking for the substance, the essence, and that is cause. And that's what's going to actually begin a whole new dispensation. Looking past the effects, the lies, and the things that are being used to manipulate us, and to look past that and use the lens, the higher lens. And lastly, as I close out, there are 4 stages, and we are in the 3rd stage. The first stage is information, because that's what we've been absorbing. Information that stays dead is just information, because information has no life. Information that is used and utilized turns into knowledge. It becomes dynamic. Knowledge, once perfected and honed, becomes wisdom. Wisdom, once perfected and understood, taught, and remaining conscious and humble, turns into enlightenment. Right. So from information to knowledge, knowledge to wisdom, and wisdom to enlightenment. We are at the stage of wisdom at this point, enlightenment to come.
Love it, Doc, love it. Billy, go ahead, my brother.
Yeah, well, you started off talking about the 9, and in vortex mathematics, 9 is seen as a point of infinity, but also a point of reset on a galactic scale, on the universal scale.
Yes, sir.
It's a point of reset, and I recently went through a reset. For those of probably some of y'all know or don't know, I recently had a near-death experience. Going back to September when I went to Turkey, I got very ill. I got somehow in one of those caves somewhere, I got some bacteria in my lungs. The bacteria sprouted and it grew like wildfire. Ended up being way out in the middle of Sanlurfa, out in the country of Turkey. It was very hard because I started losing a lot of weight, lost 22 pounds in just a couple of weeks, couldn't eat, got extremely sick, couldn't breathe, and thought I just had a regular cold, thought I would just. And during this process, I remember, shout out to King Simon. I had talked to King Simon right before we went to Turkey, and King Simon was warning me that you're heading into an area right now in time where right now it can go, a lot of good things are going to happen, but a lot of bad things can also happen. So you got to keep your head on the swivel. You got to be prepared. There's a lot coming at you, getting ready to come at you, right? This is right before I went to Turkey.
Wow.
I get sick. I get really ill to the point where I'm almost dying. My wife is literally trying to keep me alive. We make it back to America to get to a hospital because I didn't trust them over there. They didn't even know what a needle was. We're asking for a needle. They said they didn't have any. So we had to get out of there trying to get an insulin needle. But got back to America and they x-rayed my lungs, found out that I only had 25% oxygen transport. And
wow.
Take your time, Billy. Take your time, brother. Take your time, brother.
I know that feeling, brother. I know that feeling.
This home here. I told you this home here, brother.
Yeah.
This home here, brother.
I drowned.
My body was going in septic shock.
Wow. Wow.
Welcome back.
Yes.
Welcome back, brother.
Hey, Billy, you had a hell of an end of the year, man.
My wife literally kept me alive till I got to the hospital. She was the one who had enough things to just keep me going a few more days. She had some peptides, she had some prednisone just to keep my lungs open. But they admitted me in the hospital that first night there. They put the heart monitor and everything on me, and then
Jeez.
I went somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I ain't gonna lie, it was easy to stay there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If I wanted to, I could have stayed there.
Mm-hmm.
But they said, and I don't know who this they are because you really couldn't make out any kind of face.
Right.
The first time I closed my eyes, I disappeared from the hotel room and I reappeared inside this place with my eyes open, even though my eyes were closed. And I could see, it was an explorer's dream. You know, I like to explore. I could see all kind of terrain, and they were showing me hominid faces and all kind of stuff. And I forced my eyes back open. I was back in my body in pain and everything else. Like heart machines going, all this oxygen stuff in my nose and everything. And I closed my eyes again. I was back there again.
Mm-hmm.
I opened my eyes again. I was back. I closed my eyes the third time. Was the last time I was able to do it. I was there again, and I was so free. And they said, if you go back, it's going to be hard.
Mm-hmm.
So they warned you. They warned you.
They warned me, and I didn't understand what that meant at that time.
Damn.
You know, and
Damn.
all I could think about was my wife. You know, I just got married. It's not even a 1-year anniversary yet, and you know, my new family and everything. You know, my son.
Right.
And I wanted to come back, so I said, "No, I'm going back." And when I did that, I came back in my body. I was back in pain, back in agony, but I couldn't get back to this place. I tried, actually closed my eyes again and tried to recreate it, but I could never get back once I made that decision. And now I'm back in the body, and I'm fighting for my life, literally for days, and trying to recover from this situation. Finally get left. You know, what do you call it when I got released from the hospital, and I'm thinking, you know, it's a hard road. I'm fighting. And I'm thinking, I feel like I'm going to make it back. I'm going to make it back all the way to health. So I'm still thinking, like, when they said it's going to be hard, the way this emotion, the way this feeling came over me, it didn't feel like just recovering from pneumonia. Right. And I couldn't figure out what it was. So I began to get healthier and healthier. I began to gain weight back and get stronger. But the process of me, when I first get out of the hospital, I'm only out of the hospital for maybe a day and a half. And I'm now, if you can imagine, being 3 weeks completely incapacitated, 3 weeks not being able to go anywhere, do anything, see anybody, you know, just nothing. And that's when this whole debate thing popped up. A friend of mine around the corner said, you know, yeah, you want to come on, hop on a podcast with me? And my wife said, don't go over there. You're too sick. And I got in the car. I drove around the corner because I couldn't walk, even though it's only a 2-minute walk. And I got into the situation. Everybody already knows about the situation. I wasn't my true self. I wasn't there all the way in my head.
Right.
But this was the beginning of like the real hard time that this 9 frequency that I got in. I got in on at the end of the day on the low energy of the 9 frequency. Mm-hmm. And it got into what you were talking about earlier, Rich, into the emotion. So then I didn't utilize all of my tools. I didn't tap into all of my knowledge. When it happened, I was in such a shock that I didn't utilize the wrong emotions or the low frequency emotions even to respond to the situation. So that's when I had to this is where the reset from the number 9 comes in. I had to go back and I had to get myself reset. I had to start fresh again. I had to go back to the ground, to the root foundation of knowledge and wisdom and understanding.
Come on, bro. That's
right. I had to tap back into who I truly am.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And I had to realize that we are manifesting our own reality. And I actually manifested this. I manifested the whole scenario because of me not understanding how to use the root knowledge, tapping into the true wisdom and knowledge that you always talk about. And I think sometimes what can happen for a person is, at the end of the day, obviously we're human, even though people think we're an alien.
That's a fact.
But we sometimes can go away from our own knowledge, our own wisdom, our own teachings. And so if I had really taken a breath and sat down and taken a moment, the way this manifested could have been a whole different outcome.
The breath.
The breath. The breath is important. Everything is in the breath. The breath is everything. Without the breath, you got nothing.
That's a fact.
If I may, if you would, my brother, you just described the third degree of my university. You went through the initiation process that you're supposed to go through when you're doing this work. People who do this work have gone through great trauma. I drowned and my lungs were filled. I died and had to be brought back. And ever since then, when I came back in the body, it was more painful than when I left. It was a joy being outside the body. It was no feeling, nothing. And then when you come back in, all I could feel is the salt water in my lungs. And ever since then, my situation has been about the lungs. The real initiation that the Masons are imitating are the ones that go through in ancient Chem. You had to you had to go through a burial process. You had to go through a killing process, and the teacher would meet you in the lower ethers to say, this is what you think you are.
Shit.
And then you would come back. The priests would be around you to bring you back in your body. And then you understood exactly what it is that your mission would be from that point forward. So you had to go through that process. Most of us have to die to some part of ourselves. And some people do it 360, some people do it 180, some people do it 90, some people only do it 30%. But like I said, if you are walking through that door and you did go through that door and then came back, then your contract was not fulfilled. And that contract then said back and said, "No, you don't belong here. What are you doing?
Right.
You are definitely you're not dealing with your contract. You didn't read the small print. This was part of it." So welcome back, brother. You understand exactly what
Good to be back. It's good to be back, man.
We all go through shit, Billy. Let's learn from it. We all go through shit.
I didn't take the L as a loss. I took the L for a learning opportunity.
There you go.
I recently got contacted from some academics that sat down with me, some 15, 20, and 30-year academics in Assyrian, Babylonian, and theology. And they said, people don't just go into debates. You have to prepare for them, which I knew from school. It takes 4 to 6 months to prepare for something like that. But your ego told you to go in there. He said one thing you didn't understand is when you're in that kind of debate, he said your answers were actually correct.
Yes.
They made you think you weren't correct. He tripped you up, made you think you weren't correct when you actually were correct. He said your answers, every single one was actually perfect, to be honest with you. You just stood stuck to your guns and had faith in your knowledge. But the words that they use in the academic field, like when I say copied from the Bible, it's not copied from the Bible. You can't use the word copied. You have to use another terminology, which means the same exact thing. But once you change that academic terminology just a slight bit, then they can pull apart your phrase or your sentence and break you down and make you feel like, oh, I must have made a mistake when that actually didn't happen. Which is pretty interesting. These people,
you're still a baby. You're still a baby. Remember, you just came back. You're still a baby. You did not remember what you're supposed to be here for, and you went rushing in like any young child would do, and you just got burned. It's all right. That's just a lesson plan, brother. You're going to be here. Everything's going to be all right.
Real quick, Sharif, say that real quick, and then I want to go to Dr. B because I want to keep it moving. Go ahead, Sharif.
All I'm going to say, brother Carson, I agree 100%. He had on his side academic methodology as it relates to theological studies. That's it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And he ain't by himself. He had a team too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I just wanted to say that, guys, and it's like, hey, this whole thing for me is about getting back to the grassroots. Once I went through the death,
crucible, the crucible.
Yeah. And now I'm resurrecting, coming back up, rising out of the ashes like a phoenix, and utilizing all of my tools. And I'm coming back stronger than ever, coming back wiser than ever, and gaining more knowledge. But also, I don't like to use the word humble because that word is kind of a low frequency word. But in that same mindset as being realizing I still got a lot to learn. We're all growing and learning at the same time. Everyone has a certain level of knowledge. Everyone here on this panel knows something that somebody else doesn't know. We're all just pieces of the puzzle. And when you put the puzzle together, you have a beautiful mosaic. And that's what it's all about.
That's right.
Hey, Dr. B, close it out, and then I'm going to let the people know about this event we got coming up. Go ahead, Dr. B.
Now, Billy, I told you when I saw you in the beginning of the year that you need a rest sometime. Sometime you need a rest. How you spell rest?
R-E-S.
Sometimes we done got so metaphysical, we forgot about the physical. You got to get back to grandma sometime and sit down on that couch with that pleather plastic on it. And you got to sit down and take some time and eat them candies, even though you don't normally eat them, and listen to grandmother medicine.
Yeah.
But right now, we all here together.
Yeah.
And I feel honored to be here. I don't even know why I'm here, because y'all dropping so much. It's just amazing. I'm always just blown away that Brother Rich even calls me. I'm always watching Star Trek Discovery. You know, I done watched it 40 times. You know what I'm saying? But to be serious, I'm having Vuja Day right now. Mm-hmm. You know what Vuja Day is? Mm-hmm. I don't know what the heck is going on. I ain't never been here before. That's Vuja Day. So y'all know about deja vu. Yeah, right. What about when you hit something, you don't know where you're at? I know, Billy, you know what I'm talking about. Oh, yeah. You didn't know where you was. I knew you didn't know where you was because you was hitting me up on IG. Billy ain't never messaged me talking about the pyramids done came down, or he don't know where he's at. Where you at, Turkey?
I was sick, man.
Are you at chicken? Are you at pork chop? Where you at? Sometimes we got to stop and we got to laugh and have some fun, y'all.
Real talk.
Because we so serious. We be so deep. I mean, sometimes, you know how y'all be getting deep sometimes. You get real deep and afterwards you go fall out. And you say, damn, where did all that come from? And the honest truth is, like folks say, Dr. B, you're a genius. I said, listen, I have no idea what's going on. This stuff is just coming through me. I'm just a channel. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't even know what question Radiohead asked in the beginning. I have no idea. What is this about? I just heard about this event today. And Rich is one of the only people that when he calls, you gotta answer. The phone rings different. You can have all your notifications off, but the phone just moves and light comes up off the camera or something. What the hell? B, I'm gonna be on in a little while. You gotta be on. On what? Just come on. I come on and all y'all on. This is crazy. This is what I call Vuja Day.
Right. Vuja Day. Not deja vu, Vuja Day.
That's when you don't know what's going on. I ain't never been here before. People be calling me, well, Dr. B, on that lecture the other day, you talked about such and such. Do you remember what you talked about? No, I don't know what I talked about. In fact, I might not even agree with what I used to talk about.
Yeah. Wow, man.
I may not even agree. Talking about, back at the Good Life, you had a video. You and Phil Valentine was up there that day on a Saturday at the Good Life. And you had a orange drink, Dr. B. And you mentioned a big word. What was that big word you mentioned? A big word. How big was it? It was a long word. It was longer than any other word I ever heard before. And you was on what's the name of that radio station? JKLH or something. And people really think that we are responsible for this. We are channels. It's coming through at this moment. But our physical bodies, we are here to give a kinesthetic, auditory, visual experience to what's coming through us. We're all channels. We're all lenses. Yes. But the thing about us is we all have a telos. That means we have something we're looking at. We have a goal. We have something that we're attempting to do. And once you know your what, then you can figure out your why. What's the fuel? Why are you doing this? Right. Some folks do this just for the money. Some folks do this just for the ego. But most of y'all I know, some of y'all I ain't really met before, but you know what I'm saying? I've seen you around town, you know what I'm saying? But our why is what's going to be really important in 2025, in this 9 vibration. What is our why? Why? Right. Why? I had 3 nervous breakdowns in 2024. All over this award. Y'all talking about I'm the spiritual leader. I've been looking for a book. Maybe there's a manual, spiritual leader book, manual number 1. I don't know nothing about being a spiritual leader. Maybe talk to Phil Valentine. Maybe I need to call him. He's been doing this for 132 years. You see what I'm saying? Y'all know he's a lot older than he says he is, you know what I'm saying? We all know that. It's too much knowledge for one brain. He got the dolphin brain. They got 4 huge brains and shit. They can talk anywhere in the universe.
Right.
Bottom line is that we're all dealing with a lot. And I had breakdowns because it was too much for my nervous system. I snapped. It was times you couldn't find me. Do you see what I'm saying? And we've all had that. And to be able to admit that we're in a physical body and it can only handle so much. You know what I'm saying? I don't care how breatharian and vegetarian you is, or oh boy, you can wear hats and special conscious gloves, and you know what I'm saying? You got every kind of bead there is, every kind of crystal. That don't mean shit when you snap. But sometimes you got to snap so you can snap back.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
If we act like we know, somebody talk to me. I know you know because you know, you're the knowest of gnosis. I don't know nothing. I'm learning in this moment from each one of you. I'm looking at y'all and I'm saying, wow, I'm still here.
Right.
You know, and never mind this year having those nervous breakdowns this year, which I didn't make public until lately. I've had 3 near-death experiences. Now, 2 of them, I was experimenting with some substances. A friend of mine called drugstore. A friend of mine, we used to call him drugstore. He had substances, and I took some things. But I learned something every time. Every single time.
I love this show. I love it, man. I love it.
Let me tell you something. I'm gonna tell you this is personal. I'm gonna tell you one. I'm gonna tell you one. And Blue Pill, I think you know what I'm talking about when I mention this. Blue Pill, I think you know about this one. Because you know you from New York, so you've been to Connecticut, right? And in Connecticut, see, you all in New York, y'all had THC, right? Powdered THC. In Connecticut, you know, we couldn't afford the whole hit. So we would mix it with Hershey's Cocoa. And we were snorting Hershey's Cocoa mixed with THC. And the brother told me, he said, nah, let me tell you something. The brother, he was cool, you know what I'm saying? He was cool. He had a coat. You know, we always had a little teeny coat on, even though it was sub below zero, acting like he wasn't cold. He said, I'm gonna tell you now, brother. They always had that voice back in the day. Had a hat on, the wind wouldn't blow it off, you know what I'm saying? It was to the side. And the brother said, I'm gonna tell you that. I'm gonna tell you, little B. Only take a half a tab. Only take a half a tab and wait. Don't do nothing but take a half a tab. I took a half a tab, went to sleep, nothing happened. So I took the other half of the tab, nothing happened. Then I took 2 halves. Then it was good. Tastes like chocolate. I love Hershey's chocolate. Little Hershey's chocolate. Mixed it up with some udder juice. I took some udder juice, mixed it with that udder juice. You know, y'all know about udder juice. Cow udder juice. Took that, and let me tell you something. I was in Turkey with Billy back in 1968. I said, Billy Carson. He said, I don't know you. But we gonna know each other one day. You talking about some out of body experience. Sometimes you be having interdimensional experience in the inner space. Never mind outer space aliens. What about the ones inside your ass, flying around in your gut?
Come on, bro.
I was not ready for that.
Let me tell you something. I was at the Good Life. I was at the Good Life one day, back on Crenshaw, and Dr. Phil was on the stage. And Dr. Phil said something, and he paused and looked at the people, and he didn't say nothing for a long time. And folks started crying. What did he say? What did he say? What did he say? I said, he said something too big for all of our brains. Sometimes stuff is too big for your brain. You can't know it all. None of us know it all.
That's right.
We're learning in the moment. The difference is that we all have something that we'd like to share.
Right.
And some of us, the people may like us because we know the law of rhythm and melody. Mm-hmm. And you can put that, like a preacher is good at that. With that rhythm and that melody, people begin to move. And this is what the Gnostics had. They had a way of singing a song, doing a poem like the Last Poets. You know what I'm saying? It was a thing back in the day. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to get that huge afro, but I was using some afro sheen that was inhibiting my follicle growth. I didn't know that the pick was pulling out my hair, but I wanted that huge afro because they seemed like they know something. But it's that rhythm, and I'm a percussionist. I'm a drummer. That rhythm You know what I'm saying? In life, how many times do you speak? What is your rhythm? What is your cadence? You see what I'm saying? But what inhibits sometimes the flow is when you're trying to figure out too much and be too intelligent and too smart. You see? But when we start tapping in to improvisation, it's happening in the moment. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Sometimes when you ask the question, we don't know what we finna say.
That's
Is
a
that
fact.
a word? Finna say.
Finna
I
say.
don't know what you're about to ask me, but something takes over.
And all of a sudden you get a deep voice. Well, you know, the beginning is the end and the end is the beginning from within the cue.
When Billy started talking about these time crystals, I'm still messed up about that, Billy. We still ain't talked about it. We started talking about it, but every time you say it, all I hear is NCB. What the hell is a time crystal? I just barely got my crystals clean because I've been trying to clean them forever. Right. I realized that the sage was making them more dirty because the sage had been stolen from the riverside. You know, but we all together, we're a cohesive living crystal.
Come on,
and it's beautiful to be here, to be at this time. Everybody, even the people online and the people who are not. Right. There's only one space happening at this moment. There is no past. There is no future. There's only this nowness. So they talk about tomorrow. We now know that that's to-now. And then you got tomorrow. That's all there is. But when you tap into this moment and you express yourself, that takes courage to express yourself. Right. To go up against authority and say the truth. Right. Now, Lord knows some of us have been in a lot of trouble lately for telling the truth because there's many truths. See, they got that F on the end. That is not the truth. It's not a fact. But when we get into the law of expression and able to improvise, because none of us have been here before, we're all having Vujade. We don't know, but we're gonna find out because you got to open up and become a channel. And when you begin to channel, you have to allow yourself to open up. So what we're doing now is we're all becoming living poets and griots. You see what I'm saying? And it's that rhythm. It is not just telling a poem, it's the rhythm. You see what I'm saying? It's that vibe. You see, so what we're doing is vibe. And that's how Brother Rich and we met, you know, through Blue Pill. Was about rhythm and sound and song and frequency.
Yeah, well, let me ask you a question. Dr. B. You have any kind of blood relationship to our lost brother John Witherspoon?
No.
Because
don't please don't mention please.
Is that energy?
You know, I don't even have spoons in my house anymore because spoons became trouble in the 70s.
Well, everything about your demeanor, energy just brings that kind of, macaroni. Everything about you just brings joy. It just seems.
I was thinking Boondocks. He reminds me of a Boondocks. He like a walking talking Boondocks type. Boondocks type.
Yo, listen.
Real quick. Hold on. Before we continue, Sharif,
why
real
does he
quick.
believe he ain't no spiritual leader? I don't get that.
Sharif, real quick before we continue.